Alright, what is up? Welcome back. We have another camera here today. This is the Minolta Hymatic AF2. I think it's great. I really do. I want to talk about this camera a little bit, kind of go into why I think it's a good camera, why I think you might appreciate it. I don't really talk about Minolta all that much, so I'm sure that all the Minolta gang out there are like stoked, but then also like why are you talking about this camera? I got this in the big box of free cameras, and I was like, this is great. I've always had this fascination with cameras like this for a few reasons. One, they are so cheap, and not in a bad way. Like it's a positive thing. I really enjoy the really plasticky construction of this. I like that you can get one of these for like $40, and they'll probably work. I like that I got this for free and it works. Let's break it down what exactly this is. As I mentioned, this is the Minolta Hymatic AF2. This, I think, is one of the earlier to earliest iterations of this camera, because there's no focus locking system, and later versions of the AF2 had those. They were also later versions of the AF2 which had a motorized drive system. This still relies on your manual advance lever, which I think makes it superior. Also has the manual rewind. That's also doubled to open up the rear of the camera. While it is technically a point and shoot, it still holds on to the earlier SLR phenotypes, I suppose. The same advance lever in earlier Hymatic models. And this kind of being the last of the line of Minolta Hymatics, I think it's very important and worth talking about. Hymatic was what Minolta was releasing, kind of to combat something like the Olympus Trip series, something like the Canon Canonette series, a small compact rangefinder with a leaf shutter and a fixed lens. This fits that role. Speaking of the lens, we have a 38mm 2.8 lens with a 46mm filter thread, which is pretty nice, pretty accessible. You'll also notice that there's this inlay in the front here, so if you want to change your ISO, you can do so just by spinning this little wheel. That's pretty convenient. The lens is a 4-element glass group, which is virtually identical to earlier Hymatic series cameras. On the front here, you also have a 10-second mechanical self-timer. You have your flash on-off switch there, the meter right there, and then your infrared autofocus sensors are right here. Interestingly enough, this is the first camera to have infrared autofocus systems utilized, which is cool. Have your viewfinder right there, flash like I mentioned. On the top you have your advance lever, shutter button, rewind, and your frame counter. On the rear you have a flash indicator. When the flash is charged, this turns green. And you also have this nice little diagram for the beeping sounds, because oh boy, does this camera beep. So that means low light, use flash, and then beep 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 means out of focus or flash range. You have a film indicator. If you have film loaded, this little bar will be orange. That's a very common thing seen in some of the Minolta cameras. It's a great little feature, definitely appreciated. On the bottom you have your rewind button, a tripod socket, and a battery compartment for 2 AA batteries. If we open up the rear here, we notice that it has a virtually identical loading system to something like the Minolta X700 and all that stuff. You put the film lead in there, and it goes from there. Pretty straightforward. Also, when you close it, resets the frame counter to S, and you'll have to advance up till 1 before you're able to take a photo. That's again another little feature. Make sure that you're not blowing your first frame. There's a few reasons why I'm talking about this camera and why I think it kind of relates to what people are looking for currently. This is a better interpretation of what the Mint Rollei 35 AF is trying to accomplish. Obviously, this came out a whole like 40 years ago, 42 years ago, 43 years ago. So this is a much older variation of the Mint Rollei system. Also considerably less money than the Mint Rollei system. Introduces accessibility to a wide range of photographers, people getting into it, all of this stuff. It has all of the manual functions and the autofocus. It's maybe a little bit bigger. I've not seen the Rollei 35 AF, but I'm assuming that this might be just a little bit bigger, but it does have an autofocus system that works, so that's cool. The argument is made every time I bring something up that's like this. People are like, well, why would you want to buy old crap that nobody can repair when this new stuff is coming out? It has the warranty, people will know how to fix it, all this stuff. And I think that's a very fair point. Not really at all what I'm kind of talking about, but it is a point that I've failed to address in video format, so I'll get to that here. Why would people want to buy this? Well, for starters, the price tag is incredibly low. They've been around for a while. They still, for the most part, work. There's obviously going to be instances in which they don't work, but there are still a number of repair shops, repair folk out there that can work on these, will work on these, and know how to work on these. And the cost of repair and camera is probably still going to be less than the $800 for the system. That's, I think, in my mind at least, as one that is not financially affluent, that is a very solid reason as to why this would be more appealing. Now, something like the warranty is nice. That is a great feature. Obviously, this doesn't have it. Not all repair shops have it. Again, if you're not spending as much money, it is what it is. You get the premium service when you pay a premium price, for sure. Not everybody can do that though. And whether it has a warranty or not isn't really going to make money appear for people. I understand the point, and I think that there's going to be a certain number of people that are going to buy the Rolleis, the Pentaxes, whatever new cameras are coming out, and God bless them for it. But I still think that there's really good cameras out there that still work, that are maybe a little bit older and deserve a little bit of love, deserve a little bit of attention, and that's what I think this is. So that's why I'm talking about it. Why I think this is a really good buy for somebody is it is very lightweight. They are affordable. It's compact. I mean, this is very, very tiny. It's easy to use. It has the feel of the vintage film camera with the advanced lever, with the rewind, but it's not like, I gotta make sure I got the right lens on. I gotta change the shutter speed, the apertures, and I gotta make sure the focus is right. It takes all of that away from you, and it just is like, hey, just make sure you advance the camera. I think that's kind of cool. And in terms of older point-and-shoot-esque systems, there are very few of them that have the advance lever and autofocus. Typically, it's advance lever and zone focus, or autofocus and motorized unit. I've said it in the past, and I'll say it again, but the motorized units, not my favorite thing in the world. Sometimes they chew up the plastic gearing and are inaccessible, unworkable. Olympus. Other times the motorized units just fail. Another thing you have to worry about. But with this, pretty straightforward. I do intend on shooting with this system, making a more illustrative video about the experience with it. I got it working, and I just thought it'd be kind of worth talking about because yes, I understand the Rollei 35 AF or whatever is a camera for people, and not everybody's gonna like the 43-year-old predecessor, but some people will. And some people that are like, I can't get the new thing because it's so expensive, there's cheaper options out there. This wouldn't be my ultimate recommendation though, just because Minoltas can kind of be a crapshoot. Even this one that, you know, granted I got for free, I did have to repair, so really not the best example in the world. Better options out there regardless. You got to find a jumping off point. So the Minolta Highmatic series, by and large, the older ones tend to be pretty okay. The Olympus Trip ones, okay sometimes. The shutters can be a nightmare and can be a pain to work on. Olympus XAs are usually pretty solid too. Canonettes, you know how I feel about those. I think they're great, and most people know how to work on them, which is very nice. The Canon Demi series as well. It's the half frame thing. There's, like I said, a lot of options out there. I just don't want people to be like, I want to get into film photography. $800, that's a lot. And it is for a lot of people. But when there's something out there like this, which could be 60, $100 maybe, you know, that's a little bit easier of a sell. So anyway, continuing the, at this point, months old discussion of old versus new. I definitely think that there's some pros to buying new stuff. Warranty and all that is great, but I think there's also some pros to buying old stuff as well. So up to you. I'm just delivering some facts and an opinion that might not be the best, but it is mine. So I'm just a guy on the internet. Believe what you want to believe, buy what you want to buy. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it as always, and I'll catch you on the next one.